Happy New Year, everyone. To kick off 2025, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of innovation with something called the Jobs to be Done framework.
Oh, very interesting.
We've gotten some excellent summaries of a book all about this, and, well, it's our job to dig out all the really important stuff.
The good stuff.
Yeah, so you can really understand what makes for successful innovation.
I think it's a really fascinating topic and really a whole new way of looking at how to create products and services that people really want.
Absolutely. The summaries we got start off with a pretty interesting question, actually. Why do innovation projects fail?
Yeah, it does seem like companies miss the mark sometimes.
All the time.
Yeah, when it comes to creating things people actually want.
Right.
The book points out that a lot of companies fall into a trap. They call it the ideas first approach. They just brainstorm a ton of ideas. Pick the ones that sound the coolest and then just kind of cross their fingers and hope for the best.
It sounds a bit like throwing darts blindfolded.
Pretty much. And the book says, more often than not, this leads to products and services that totally miss the mark.
Right.
So they contrast this with something they call the needs-first approach.
Okay.
And this flips the script completely.
Right.
Instead of starting with ideas, you begin by deeply understanding what your customers are actually trying to achieve.
So less about dreaming up the next big thing and more about solving real problems for real people.
Exactly.
Got it.
And that's where the Jobs to be Done framework comes in.
Okay.
It's all about understanding the fundamental job a customer is trying to get done with a product or service.
So it's like that classic quote about the drill, right?
Yes.
People don't want a drill, they want a hole.
There you go. You got it. That's a quote by Theodore Levitt.
Oh, okay.
He said, "People don't want to buy a quarter-inch drill. They want a quarter-inch hole."
It's a good one.
It's a classic. And it really gets to the heart of Jobs to be Done.
Right.
You need to shift your focus from the product itself to the underlying need the customer is actually trying to fulfill.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do we actually figure out what these jobs are?
Right.
Is it as simple as just asking customers what they want?
It's a little more nuanced than that.
Okay.
The framework actually breaks down these customer needs into several categories.
Yeah.
So you have the core functional job, like we just talked about, but you also have related jobs, emotional and social jobs, consumption chain jobs, and even the buyer's financial desired outcomes.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot more than I was expecting.
There's a lot to unpack.
I'm already seeing how this goes way deeper than just, surface level assumptions about what customers want.
Yeah, definitely.
Can you give me some examples of how these different job types, actually play out in a real world scenario?
Sure. Let's take the example of a ride-sharing service like Uber.
Okay.
On the surface, the core functional job is pretty simple.
Get from point A to point B.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then you start to think about the related jobs. So maybe you need to get to the airport on time.
Right.
So reliability becomes really important.
Or maybe you're going out with friends and want to split the fare easily.
Exactly. Those are related jobs. And then you have the emotional and social jobs. So maybe you want to feel safe and secure during the ride.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're hoping to impress a date by arriving in a really stylish Uber Black.
Right. I'm starting to see how understanding these deeper needs can really impact, the design and the marketing of a product.
Absolutely.
You're not just selling a ride, you're selling peace of mind, convenience, maybe even a touch of luxury.
Exactly. And don't forget about consumption chain jobs. These are all the steps involved in actually using the service.
Okay.
Think about finding a driver, tracking their arrival, making a payment, rating the driver at the end of the trip.
Right.
Each of these steps has its own set of needs and potential pain points that
Yeah.
need to be addressed.
Okay, this is really fascinating.
Yeah.
Even something as simple as taking an Uber has all these layers of jobs embedded in it.
It really does. And that's the beauty of the Jobs to be Done framework.
Yeah.
It forces you to think about all those layers. It's not just about the ride itself. It's about the whole experience from start to finish.
Right.
And once you understand those jobs, you can start to think about how to create solutions that actually meet those needs.
Okay, so let's say we've done the work, we've identified all these jobs. How do we use that information to drive innovation?
That's where the JTBD growth strategy matrix comes into play.
Yeah.
It helps you categorize different growth strategies based on what you know about your customer jobs and where you stand in the competitive landscape.
So tell me more about this matrix.
It outlines 5 key growth strategies. There's differentiated, dominant, disruptive, discrete, and sustaining.
Okay.
And each strategy is tailored to a specific situation depending on whether you're targeting underserved needs or overserved needs, or even creating entirely new markets.
Okay, I think I need some concrete examples to really grasp these different strategies.
Sure.
Can we stick with Uber for a second?
Yeah, absolutely. So remember we talked about Uber Black?
Yeah.
That's a great example of a differentiated strategy.
Because they're targeting a specific need for a higher-end experience.
Exactly. They're charging a premium price because they're providing a better, more luxurious experience that caters to a specific type of customer.
Right.
Now think about UberX.
That seems more about like providing a better, faster, and cheaper alternative to a traditional taxi.
You got it. That's a dominant strategy.
UberX wants to win over a wider range of customers by being more efficient and more affordable than the existing players in the market.
Right.
And then you have something like Uber Pool.
Right, where you share a ride with other people to make it cheaper.
Precisely. That's a disruptive strategy.
Okay.
They're targeting a segment of customers who might be overserved by existing options.
Right.
Maybe they don't need a whole car to themselves, and they're willing to sacrifice a little convenience for a lower price.
Right. This matrix is really helpful for understanding how companies position themselves and target different needs.
Yeah.
It's like a strategic roadmap for innovation. It is. It really highlights how understanding jobs to be done can inform your entire growth strategy. It's not just about identifying needs, it's about using that understanding to make strategic decisions about what kinds of products and services to create and how to position them in the market.
This is eye-opening.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see the real power of this framework.
Huh.
But I have a feeling we've only just scratched the surface.
We definitely have. There is a whole process for putting this theory into practice.
Okay.
It's called outcome-driven innovation, or ODI for short.
Okay.
It's basically a 10-step process that acts as a roadmap for turning customer needs insights into real-world innovation.
A roadmap for innovation. I like that. So where does this roadmap begin?
The first step is getting really clear about who your customer is.
Okay.
And ODI breaks it down into 3 different types of customers: the end user, the product lifecycle support team, and the purchase decision maker.
Okay. So I'm guessing the end user is the person who's actually using the product day to day.
Exactly. They're the ones experiencing the core functional job firsthand. Then you have the product lifecycle support team. These are the people who install, maintain, repair, anyone involved in keeping the product running smoothly.
Right.
And then, of course, you have the purchase decision maker.
The one who signs on the dotted line.
That's right. They're considering the financial outcomes, weighing the value proposition.
Makes sense.
ODI says that understanding the needs of all 3 of these types of customers is essential for creating a successful product or service.
Okay, so once we know our customers inside and out, what's next?
That's when we dive into defining the job to be done itself.
Okay.
And it's actually not as simple as it sounds. It's about truly understanding the job from the customer's perspective, not the company's.
Okay.
And there's a delicate balance. You have to be careful not to define the job too narrowly or too broadly.
Okay, walk me through that. What's the danger of defining it too narrowly?
Let's say you're a company that makes traditional stovetop kettles.
Right.
If you define the job too narrowly as simply boil water, you might miss out on a competitor coming along with a Keurig. That not only boils water, but also makes a whole range of hot beverages.
So you're limiting your innovation potential.
Exactly.
By focusing too much on a single step.
Yeah.
Instead of the bigger picture.
Exactly. Now, on the other hand, defining the job too broadly can make it really overwhelming and impractical. You have to consider what your company is capable of doing, what resources you have.
So it's about finding that sweet spot. A job definition that's comprehensive but still actionable.
Precisely.
Okay.
The next step is where it gets really interesting, uncovering the customer's desired outcomes. These are the metrics they use to measure success when they're trying to get the job done.
Okay, so we're talking about the how well, not just the what.
Exactly. Customers don't just want to boil water. They want to boil it quickly and efficiently and safely.
Right, like those life hack videos you see online.
It's a similar concept. You're uncovering those fundamental ways that customers want to improve the process of getting the job done. And here's the thing. ODI actually recommends capturing these desired outcomes as very specific statements.
So there's a science to this.
There is. They emphasize the importance of capturing these outcome statements in a way that makes them measurable and controllable and actionable.
Okay.
So, for example, instead of saying, I want the kettle to boil water quickly,
right.
An outcome statement might be, minimize the time it takes to bring the water to a boil.
So it's about being super precise and focusing on the quantifiable aspect.
Exactly. And these very specific outcome statements, they're incredibly valuable. They become the building blocks for the rest of the ODI process.
Got it.
They help you identify hidden opportunities, segment your market in a meaningful way, and guide your entire innovation strategy.
This is all starting to click for me. I can see how this approach takes a lot of the guesswork out of innovation.
Yeah.
But isn't this a lot of work up front?
It is an investment.
Yeah.
But think of it this way. Wouldn't you rather put in the effort up front to really understand your customers and their needs rather than wasting time and resources on products that just totally miss the mark?
Yeah, that's a very good point. It's about being strategic and proactive, not reactive.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've identified the customer, defined the job, uncovered their outcomes. What's next?
Next is finding segments of opportunity within your target market.
So now we're getting to the market part of the equation.
Right. And this is where traditional market segmentation often falls short.
Okay.
ODI emphasizes that the most meaningful and actionable segments are based on needs, not demographics.
So forget about age, gender, location. It's all about what the customer is trying to achieve.
Exactly. ODI uses a technique called outcome-based segmentation to discover groups of customers who share unique sets of unmet needs.
I can see how this is much more targeted than just lumping people into broad categories.
It is, and it leads to more focused and effective innovation. Think about the example with Bosch and their circular saws.
Yeah.
They discovered a segment of customers who were specifically struggling with making precise finish cuts. They had unmet needs related to blade adjustments and overall precision.
Right, and that led them to develop a highly successful circular saw specifically for those needs.
Exactly. That's the power of outcome-based segmentation. It helps you zero in on the most promising opportunities for innovation by focusing on what truly matters to customers.
This is making me rethink my whole approach to market research.
It's about going beyond the surface.
Yeah.
And really understanding the why behind customer behavior.
Right, and that deeper understanding is what fuels innovation.
Exactly. ODI challenges the conventional wisdom and offers a more rigorous and customer-centric approach.
Okay, so we've identified our customer, defined the job, uncovered their desired outcomes, and segmented our market based on needs. What's next?
The next step is defining your value proposition.
Okay.
And guess what? It all ties back to those unmet needs.
Sensing a pattern here.
By deeply understanding those unmet needs and how they cluster within different segments, you can create a value proposition that really resonates with customers.
So it's not just about listing features and benefits. It's about highlighting how your product directly addresses those specific customer pain points.
Exactly. And it goes beyond marketing. Your entire company should be aligned around this value proposition.
It's like a unifying force.
Precisely. And the next step, competitive analysis, is also viewed through the lens of customer needs.
Okay, so we're not just looking at who has the coolest features or the lowest price. We're looking at how well they're meeting those underlying needs.
Right. In ODI, you're evaluating competitors based on how effectively they actually satisfy those desired outcomes.
Oh, okay.
And this analysis can be incredibly revealing.
Because it highlights the gaps in the market.
Exactly. You can see where you can differentiate yourself by offering a solution that better meets those unmet needs.
This is giving me a whole new appreciation for customer insights.
They're essential for driving successful innovation.
Okay, so we've defined our value proposition, analyzed our competitors, all based on those core customer needs. What's next?
Next comes formulating the innovation strategy. This is where you make those big decisions about what to build, how to position it, and which segments to target.
This sounds like the putting it all together stage.
It is, and ODI provides specific tools and frameworks to guide those decisions. Remember the JTBD growth strategy matrix?
Right.
With those 5 key strategies?
Right.
Differentiated, dominant, disruptive, discrete, and sustaining.
Yeah.
ODI helps you figure out which strategy is the best fit for you, based on what you know about customer needs and the competitive landscape.
Okay.
You might choose to target a specific underserved segment with a premium product.
Okay.
Or you might aim to disrupt the market with a lower-cost solution.
I'm seeing how ODI provides a clear path from customer insights to strategic action.
It's about connecting the dots.
Yeah.
It's about making innovation less about intuition and more about data-driven decision-making.
Okay, so we've got our innovation strategy, but there's still more to this process, right?
There is. The next step is all about targeting those hidden growth opportunities. And this is where things get really exciting. So this step is all about taking those customer insights we've gathered and turning them into real opportunities for growth. It's about finding those areas where your innovation efforts will have the biggest impact.
So it's like panning for gold. You're sifting through all the data to find the real nuggets.
That's a great way to put it. ODI actually provides a tool for this called the opportunity score.
Okay.
It's a way to quantify the potential of different outcomes based on how important they are to customers and how satisfied they are with existing solutions.
So you're not just looking at what customers want, you're also looking at how badly they want it and how well current solutions are meeting those needs.
Exactly. The opportunity score takes both of those factors into account. So imagine you find an outcome that's super important to customers,
Uh-huh.
but they're really unhappy with the current solutions. That's going to result in a high opportunity score,
Okay.
and that signals a prime area for innovation.
So the higher the score, the bigger the opportunity.
Exactly. ODI even has a way to visualize these opportunities. It's called the opportunity landscape. It's basically a chart that plots all the outcomes based on importance and satisfaction, so you can see where those big gaps are.
So you can literally see the areas where you can make the biggest difference for your customers.
Exactly. The opportunity landscape becomes a powerful tool for prioritizing your innovation strategy. You want to make sure you're putting your resources towards those areas with the highest potential.
This is making me realize how much guesswork is involved in traditional approaches to innovation.
Right. ODI really takes a lot of that mystery out of it and gives you a data-driven roadmap.
So we've identified these opportunities. How do we actually turn them into real products and services?
That's where the final two steps of ODI come in, formulating the market strategy and the product strategy. And guess what?
They're all about those unmet needs.
You got it. The market strategy is about aligning your offerings with those unmet needs. It's about finding the right value proposition, positioning your products effectively, and targeting the right customers. Remember that case study with Coloplast's wound care division?
Yeah, they changed their marketing message to focus on preventing complications instead of just faster healing.
Exactly. And that led to a huge increase in sales.
It's amazing how a small change in perspective can have such a big impact.
It really is. And that's the power of a market strategy that's based on a deep understanding of the customer. You're not just selling a product, you're offering a solution to a real problem.
So what about the product strategy?
The product strategy focuses on developing solutions that directly address those unmet needs we talked about. This might involve improving existing products or creating entirely new ones.
So it's really a holistic approach that covers the entire innovation lifecycle.
Exactly. ODI provides a comprehensive framework for approaching innovation in a strategic and customer-centric way.
This has been a really incredible deep dive. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of what it takes to create successful innovations.
It's a game changer. And the book actually goes even further. It provides guidance on how to become an ODI practitioner
Right.
and how to actually transform your entire organization to be more outcome-driven.
So it's like a blueprint for success.
It really is. And the best part is that it's not just theoretical. The book is full of case studies of real companies.
Nice.
Like Microsoft, Bosch, Kroll, On Track, all of them using ODI to achieve some really amazing results.
It's always inspiring to see these concepts in action.
It makes it all feel much more real and achievable.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the key takeaways?
I think the biggest one is that we need to shift our perspective on innovation. It's not about some random act of genius. It's a structured process that's focused on the customer.
It's about understanding what customers are trying to achieve and figuring out how we can help them do it better.
Right. It's about moving away from just coming up with cool ideas and actually solving real problems.
This has really sparked my curiosity, and I'm already thinking about ways to apply these ideas to my own work.
That's great to hear. And here's something for you to think about. If you were to apply this framework to your own life, what jobs would you identify? And are there any underserved needs that you could address?
That's a great question. It really challenges us to think differently about the challenges we face.
Exactly. We can all be innovators in our own way.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of jobs to be done and outcome-driven innovation.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
So we've done all this work. We've identified these opportunities. Where do we go from here?
Yeah, it feels like we've laid the groundwork, but now we need to build something.
Exactly. And that's where we shift from identifying potential to actually crafting a winning strategy. It involves translating all those customer needs and opportunities into a solid market strategy and a really targeted product strategy.
So it's like bridging the gap between, insight and action. How do we make sure those innovations actually resonate with the market and solve those unmet needs we've uncovered?
Well, the market strategy piece is all about aligning what you offer with those needs. Think back to that example with Coloplast's wound care division. You remember that one?
Yeah, they changed their messaging to focus on preventing complications instead of just talking about faster healing.
Right. And that simple shift really tapped into a deeper need for customers, and they saw a huge jump in growth.
It's fascinating how a small change in perspective can have such a big impact.
It really can. They weren't just selling wound care, they were selling peace of mind and a more proactive approach to healing.
Exactly. And that's the power of a good market strategy, one that's based on a deep understanding of the customer. You're not just pushing a product, you're offering a real solution to their problems. So how does the product strategy fit into all of this?
The product strategy is all about developing solutions that directly address those unmet needs we've identified. This might involve improving existing products, adding new features, or even creating totally new offerings.
So it's about taking all that knowledge about customer jobs, desire outcomes and opportunities, and using it to create products and services that really deliver.
Exactly. You're weaving those insights into everything you do in product development. Every decision you make is based on what your customers are trying to achieve.
This whole process is pretty amazing. It's like all these pieces fitting together to create a successful innovation strategy.
It really is remarkable. And the great thing about ODI is that it's a structured and repeatable framework that any company can use.
It's like a recipe for innovation success.
Pretty much.
Huh.
And the best part is it's not just theory. The book is packed with real-world examples. Companies like Microsoft, Bosch, Kroll, OnTrack, all using ODI to get great results.
It's always inspiring to see how these ideas work in practice.
It makes it all seem much more real and achievable.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the biggest takeaways?
I think the most important one is that we need to change how we think about innovation. It's not some magical process. It's a structured process focused on the customer.
It's about understanding what they need and helping them get there.
Right. We need to move away from just brainstorming cool ideas and focus on actually solving problems.
This deep dive has been really thought-provoking, and I'm already thinking about how to apply these ideas in my own work.
That's fantastic. And here's something to think about. If you were to apply this framework to your own life, what jobs would you identify? Are there any unmet needs that you could address?
That's a great question. It really makes you think differently about the challenges you face.
We can all be innovators in our own way.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of jobs to be done and outcome-driven innovation.
It was my pleasure.
And Happy New Year to all our listeners. We'll see you next time for another exciting deep dive.